Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today, because of me sadly going away, being too successful in getting an apprenticeship, I'm not really able to record as much, so I am making you this video here, giving you 5 decks which I've really enjoyed playing and are quite viable in Elder Scrolls Legends, and basically this video is just here to give you a few ideas, maybe some inspiration on the next deck you might want to play. And yeah, without further ado, we will get into the first of the many decks. So, the first one we have is Lethal Archer. Now, this deck is very much a good control deck, which utilises the keyword lethal, which will basically just destroy any creature it attacks, but using items like Quicksilver Crossbow and Archer's Gambit to really make the most of each use of lethal. A few other cards that you might want to throw in here, for instance, could be something like Unsummon, so Elena could proc off again, or, you know, you might want to also throw in some other cards which might be more down the draw power route, in case you're worried you won't reach as many cards. But no, I think this deck here is a very good one and a very fun one for Archer. Like I said, it's a good level control, and it mainly aims towards having a lot of weaker cost cards, but those weaker cost cards really do pack a punch against your opponent's units. And obviously the triple Bandari Opportunist is never really an issue, because it's always something quite nice for filling up your decks with 1/1 charges and draw a card, which no one's ever really against, let's be real. It's nice to have plenty of draw power, as well as plenty of cards which can get rid of your opponent's biggest threats. Of course, I'd say this deck does fall quite badly to decks which swarm heavily, which might mean you need to throw in some other utilities to do kind of board clears and other swarm issues. But when your opponent's in like an item deck and doesn't really have ward, because ward always messes things up, you really can optimize your plays and really scare your opponent out of victory. Right, so next, for all you Skyrim lovers, we have a dragon deck. And this time I've gone for Guildsworn Dragons, because I think there's a lot of things that you can do here, and this deck doesn't even really involve a lot of the Moons of Elsewhere Shackle Dragons, but it does have a lot of kind of variation in the dragons it does have. So you've got ones like Blood Dragon, which are really good at just slapping your opponent's face or hitting both lanes, really giving you a lot of coverage. You've got plenty of removal as well as draw power. Draw power is thriving in this deck. You've got your Crusader's Assaults, your Rapid Shots, you name it. You've got your actions to give you more cards, and even Laneth to help you hand pick the strong dragon you might want at the end of the game. Say you want Alduin, easy, done. Say you want Karlgrotted, you can just grab him, and then all of a sudden, next turn, you're not just summoning him, you're also summoning one of your weaker dragons to help you with the situations going on. And having Abnathan in the deck as well works so well with your bigger dragons, and just really gives you such high quantities of dominance over your opponent towards the later rounds of the game. And if you can make it to those later rounds, obviously you will thrive. And you do have cards, obviously, like a lot of guards at the lower costs and some bits of control at the lower cost to really make sure you can get to the later rounds and scare your opponent. I've already said this. It's a fun deck. Enjoy yourselves. Have it a go with it. If you want to change something about it, that's all up to you. But that's all I've already got on this deck. So the next deck, I was going to save this to the end, but I've just got to mention it now. Vvardvark TELVANNI Swarm Party. It was a fun idea that Sad Templar gave me last Christmas, I believe. Really good deck, for meme purposes at least. And I had 2 or 3 phenomenal games with this deck. So phenomenal that I haven't even dare pick up this deck again, because I just couldn't ruin the perfection that were those games. I will have a link in the description to not only the deck list, but also an example video of me playing each of these decks, because I have played them in the past. And I can just say now, re-watch the Vvardvark one, or if you haven't seen it, watch the Vvardvark one. It's so much fun. It's just a masterpiece of a video. And that's me being humble. I'm not being humble. I am heavily bragging. And this deck wasn't even my idea. It was, like I said, Sad Templar's very, very creative guy with decks. Mainly because he chooses the most aggravating cards and says, work your way around that. And you sometimes get masterpieces like this. yes. Then other times, yeah, it can get a bit weird. But no, really, you can have so much fun with getting your board filled with these Vvardvarks, getting them strong, and being able to beat your opponent up with Vvardvarks. Just, they don't expect it, but it's the kind of thing that doesn't cause your opponent to rage quit and concede. It causes them to just laugh and go, no way am I about to lose to the equivalent of, like, fantastical chickens, which are very small and midgety. Anyway, for those players who are wanting more of a cheaper deck and one where they don't have to get as many legendaries, of course you need a couple here and there for this deck, we have Prophecy Battlemage. And the main reason why this is here is because, once again, memes. We have the Adoring Fan in the deck. I mean, other than the Adoring Fan itself, it is actually quite a good and well thought out deck. But as 37 of the 50 cards are all prophecies, having a 74% chance of getting a prophecy with your deck just as it is, it means that you're almost always going to get one. And the only thing that this deck would want would be more runes, which sadly there aren't really ways of restoring runes unless you're running a singleton deck, and a deck like this doesn't work as a singleton deck, because you want free Fate Weavers, you want free Mystic Dragons, you want free of a lot of these items. But this is the best you can really do as a prophecy deck, and it works quite well, to be honest. I mean, you don't really ever get to draw off your rune, which is a bit upsetting, and sometimes you do just want to get a bit of draw power so you can keep in the game and have cards as options. But no, it's for sure fun. It's definitely something you can give a try and really have some form of use of it, which isn't too bad, and it won't make you completely regret your life. It's also quite like a resource cheap deck. Anyway, next we have Win Conditions Empire. This deck, the reason why I'm showing it is because it's just got, it can do a lot of things. It's a deck where you go to run it one time, and the way you win just changes sometimes. So if you haven't noticed, the deck does run Jarl Balgruuf. Now, if you've never won with Jarl Balgruuf before, I will, again, have a link in the description to a video where I show this, and you do get to see what happens when you win using Jarl Balgruuf's effect. But even if you don't get him off, you've got Tullius's Conscription to flood the board. You've got so many guards that you can slow down your opponent to move the game at your pace, as well as swarm mechanics to just stampede your opponent anyway before you get to Conscription. You've got so many options here, and they all work pretty well as working well with good draw power. So a deck like this, you've usually got a lot of things you can do. It does have 14 prophecies, which I'd say it's an alright number. I'd say it's pretty good for a deck like this, because some people just only run like 3 or 4 prophecies because the cards just don't naturally work for them. But a deck like this, they fit in, they can get their control, they can get their swarm, they can even get their unique win conditions. It's got a bit of everything, and a bit of everything is always nice, so feel free to give it a go. And that is going to end the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Obviously, again, deep apologies that I'm not really able to make any fresh content, but as I've shown in the timeline to my goodbye for now video, I probably won't be making new content till Christmas, meaning that November and December are probably going to be empty-ish months on the channel. But if you stick around, obviously, I'll make sure to reward you with something special at Christmas, especially more towards New Year's Eve. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Take care, and have a good one.